Two almighty revelations about EV charging are on the way, and a third, dynamite but not yet confirmed. Now, both sections of follow directly affect non-Tesla drivers, dropping charging prices to as little as 24 pence per kilowatt hour. While for Tesla drivers, this non-Tesla first section is still valid, the second is dynamite. Dave takes it on, brings you up to date. Now, non-Tesla drivers often complain that I'm an avid Tesla fanboy and don't concentrate on them enough. Well, bear with me on this one, because I do need to talk about superchargers first, but this section is definitely for you, my neglected minority. You will know that Tesla have opened up a small number of superchargers to non-Tesla drivers. For those who've used one, the main attraction, besides the power and reliability and availability and number, is that they are so stupidly, ridiculously cheap, with prices commonly around 35p and as low as 24p per kilowatt hour off-peak. The reason why they limited the numbers to so few is now over, and there is a massive explosion of superchargers soon to be opened up to you non-Tesla drivers. Tesla restricted the initial number for a vital reason. Tesla monitor all of their superchargers and their cars in real time and run predictive software in both. They can monitor all the cars on the roads within range of a supercharger, the state of charge, the destination if using sat-nav, and what the state of charge will be when they actually arrive there. Knowing the car and the charger, they can also predict how long they will have to charge for. Now, as new cars are sold, they too are added and monitored, and this allows them to predict where and when superchargers will start to reach capacity and queues form. In some cases, they manage to install the new supercharger before the old one reaches its limit. Others, unfortunately, reach capacity and queues begin to form, but are then quickly upgraded at a later date. When opening up their superchargers to non-Teslas, they could not do this. They cannot monitor non-Tesla cars, the state of charge, the location, the destination, how fast they can charge, and how long they will be there. Suddenly opening up all the superchargers would result in total chaos, with long queues affecting Tesla and non-Tesla drivers alike. So they simply switched to predictive software to monitor non-Tesla's charging. They had no idea when one would arrive, but instantly noticed when one plugged in. It then recorded the state of charge, the maximum speed it could charge at, and how long each one actually took. Quickly, they learned. And at that point, the program could now begin to predict the impact of opening up additional superchargers. The fantastic news is that the prediction is about over, and far more superchargers will be opening to non-Tesla cars, gaining pace rapidly over the next 12 months. Your wishes have been granted. Much more superchargers offering half price or less, reliable ultra-rapid charging. But there's so much more. Have you ever had to block two bays because your charging point is in the wrong place and the cable's too short? Worry not. That will soon be a thing of the past. By the way, Tesla owners, it's your turn now. Listen up. V4 chargers are now being installed in the UK, and the first are already up and running. This is massive, so let's look at what they will mean. First, they look very different, but the maximum power is software limited to 250 kilowatt, like the V3s. Why? Well, no Tesla on the road at present can charge faster. The best, let's say the Model S Plaid, that's limited to 250 kilowatts, so offering more does not achieve anything. Now, for details of why, check out my video on maximum charging speed and maximum charger power. Anyway, there are incredibly few cars on the road today that can charge faster. Porsche Taycan, Hyundai Ioniq 6 and the Kia EV6, to name most of them. So, blistering speed for almost all. But the charging cable is now twice as long. Wow! In my videos on using various chargers like Instavolt and Osprey, I've always complained that the cables are really thick, inflexible and heavy, making them difficult to manoeuvre and unpleasant to use. Well, great news, the V4 cable is twice as long, but thanks to new technology, proprietary to Tesla, they're just as light and flexible as ever. No overhead spring supports to take up most of the huge weight. Well, let me point out that doubling the length of the charger cable has no effect whatsoever on Teslas. It's useless. Their charging ports are all on the rear left, normally behind the light cluster, so why add a longer cable? Is it the Cybertruck? Does that have the port elsewhere? No. Recent photos and videos of pre-production Cybertrucks have found it is still on the rear left. It's just on the wheel arch this time, not behind the light cluster. This doubling is exclusively for non-Teslas and will mean that any car can pull into a single charging bay and charge wherever your manufacturer's decided to hide the charging port. Well, the V4s also have, for the very first time, an LCD display and a contactless terminal. Once again, no use whatsoever to Tesla driver. We've never needed either. The car and the charger chat away and initiate the session themselves and then take payment at the end. No, again, this is exclusively for non-Tesla drivers whose cars still cannot talk to Tesla. And that means, wait for it, all V4 chargers which are now being installed throughout the UK in groups of 12, 18 or 24 at a time will be open to you, my neglected minority. Non-Tesla drivers. And as a bonus, existing V2s will soon start to be replaced. Well, they offer a mere 150 kilowatt and are just so out of date, hopelessly behind the technology. Well, what's that here? Instavolt and Osprey are installing maximum 100 and 150 kilowatt chargers at the moment. Well, I told you this was big news, but there's even more, bigger and better. Now, this is simply genius for non-Tesla drivers and great news for Tesla drivers. But Tesla never stands still. I don't know if you heard, but in Texas, Tesla offered totally free overnight charging to Tesla owners. Now, my little birdie told me recently that to launch the V4s officially, there might actually be some free overnight charging offered to Tesla drivers. Free charging? Whoa, where are all the doubters now who said that once Tesla dominate the charging scene, they will immediately cash in and fleece their loyal customers? I beg to differ. I hope this is true. It is not confirmed, but time will tell. And it is very unlikely this will be extended to non-Tesla drivers. Sorry. Well, this is simply massive news on the charging front in the UK. I will follow up this video with an in-depth look at the V4s, why cap them at 250 kilowatts, what could they actually do, what's the future of new Tesla models. Well, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss that one, and if you like this video and want more, please consider joining as a Patreon member to help us financially. Well, thanks for watching. I'm Dave, and you heard it here first.